Hello everyone, welcome back to UNC YouTube channel. This is a channel where I share everything about real estate investing in Malaysia, including new property launches and of late even include cafes and food review, especially in Penang. Today in this video, I'm going to share something very exciting, especially if you are a landlord in Malaysia, which is what are the rental exemption you must know in Malaysia, especially in year 2020. And also if your rental income is subject to income tax, and should you disclose your rental income in your income tax filing. During my career as a property consultant, I always met with this statement from my customers where they always tell me, even I think I wouldn't want to get my tenancy agreement stamped. Why? Because I don't want to have to pay for the income tax. Do you know that in fact there are a lot of advantages when it comes to stamping your rental agreement? One of the obvious is, of course, it can help to supplement your income, and it can help you to increase your capacity when it comes to getting more loan from the bank. And as for the concern that your rental income would be subject to tax, in fact, I would say that it is a yes and no answer to that. Why? Because rental income is only subject to income tax on the net gain. That means before you arrive at the net gain of your rental income, there are a lot of expenses in fact you can legally deduct from the rental income which you collect from your rental properties. So if you are new when it comes to property investing and you're also not very sure how should you disclose your rental income when it comes to your income tax filing, do watch on this video until the end. So how do you know if you need to disclose your rental income in your income tax filings? Let me show it to you how you calculate your net rental income gain. Over here, take for example, if today I rent out one of my residential properties at rental of RM 1,000 per month through the service of an agent. After 12 months is up, the tenant decides to move out, and the assessment tax for a year for that property is RM 500. Quit rent amount to RM 120 a year, and maintenance fees 1,200 a year. Then I discovered that I need to fix the toilet bowl and repaint the whole unit. The cost coming to about Ringgit Malaysia 1,100. As this rental property is under mortgage with a bank, the total mortgage interest I have paid for that year was 7,100. So this is how my net rental gain would be. I take my rental income, I times with 12 months to derive at rental income a year, and then I minus off the total expenses which I'm allowed to deduct from my gross rental income in order to arrive at my net gain in rental income. So I deduct the first one is the agent commission 1,000 plus the assessment tax for a year, which is RM 500, plus the quit rent RM 120, plus maintenance fees RM 1,200, plus the repair cost 1,100, and also the mortgage interest I have paid for that year 7,100. So my rental income for a year comes out to 12,000, and my total expenses which I've incurred for that year in order to maintain my property would be $11,020. So 12,000 I minus off $11,020, I still have a net gain in rental for 980. So in this instance, I would need to disclose my rental income in my income tax filing for that year. I can file that under the statutory income from rents if I'm doing an online filing, and if I'm doing a manual filing, I can do that under Part B2 in the BE form or Part B7 in the B form. And of late, because our government wants to encourage more landlords to rent out their residential premises at the more affordable prices, they have actually come up with this little extra incentive. During the tabling of Budget 2018, it was stated that there will be an exemption of 50% on the statutory income of rental received by Malaysian citizens who live in Malaysia. Of course, there are certain requirements which must be fulfilled in order to be entitled to this 50% exemption, which I listed over here. The first criteria is the property in question must be under residential title and must be rented out under a legal tenancy agreement between the owner, who is a landlord, and also the tenant. Condition number 2, Monthly rental received from each property must not be more than Ringgit Malaysia 2,000. This exemption is not restricted to just one residential property but to as many properties that one individual owns. And condition number 3, the last condition is tenancy agreement must be stamped by Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri and executed on or after January 2018 and is only given for a maximum period of 3 consecutive years, which means until this year 2020. So with this exemption in place, let me show it to you how the calculation of your rental income would be this time. Under the exemption of 50% on the statutory income of rental received, now the rental income that you received earlier, 12,000, would have to be divided by 2. So it will comes to 6,000 and you minus off the total expenses permitted, which still remains at $11,020. So with this exemption, you realize that now you have incur a loss in your rental income. So in this instance, you do not need to file your rental income in your income tax filing because there is a rental law. So here I would like to include for your reference what are the list of expenses where you can legally deduct off from your rental income collected. The first one is cost of ordinary repairs to maintain the property in its existing state. Second, of course, is the insurance premium that you paid for taking up fire insurance or any other type of insurance for your property. Third is the assessment tax and quit rent. Fourth, maintenance fees for those stratified properties which come with facilities. And subsequent agent commission, except the first time, means the agent commission which you incurred for the first time in renting out your rental properties, it shall not be included as the permitted expenses. But for the subsequent rental where you engage the service of an agent and the commission that you incurred to the agent, it is allowed for you to deduct as part of the permitted expenses. And lastly, of course, is the mortgage interest, especially if this rental property is still under mortgage with a bank. Okay, so now that we have come to the end of this sharing, I hope by now you are clear as to how to calculate your rental income and how to determine if you need to file your rental income in your next income tax filing. So do remember, it's very important to declare your income tax as clear as possible as to avoid any trouble in near future. And at the same time, it is also of utmost importance for us to retain all the receipts and relevant documents related to our rental income properties for a minimum of 7 years. Just in case if you are suddenly called for a tax audit, it's always better to be safe than sorry. So that's it. If you find the content of my video to be good, I appreciate for a thumbs up for this video. And also do remember to subscribe to my channel and also turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss out on my next upload. I upload my video on a weekly basis. Thank you for watching the video until the end and see you again next time. Bye bye and God bless you.